Trash last year.
You are welcome to put in.
I believe last year we almost lost to the Brian Scalabrine toss.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Three sizes too small.
Like seriously,
I'm sorry,
Your heart is 3 sizes too small.
at least.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. This is round 8. What number team are you?
We're 15, right?
Yes.
And you
Seven.
Seven.
Confidence.
Nah, you did.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
We really.
I can't believe I got that flip.
You got a buzz strong Chris Manders.
We could have been more bad losing on
I should have
Yeah,
gotten
I
that.
have heard of that.
In fact, Chris Buzz so strong in this game, you nag all the time.
That was my first day.
You're playing also.
That's pretty good.
One
dude.
time.
He did like throw the chair, like just keep screaming profanities during the.
And
There's no will,
pretty much
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he got it.
Okay.
Question draws a kid.
John Morris through the
Okay.
Second buzzer.
This packet is by the team of Matt Lafers, Rampton Lai, Will Moore. Toss of one. In Yazidism, initiation as a murid occurs as a result of this action during the bisq ceremony. A weight of silver equal to the products of this action is donated to charity following the Akika ceremony in Islam, and while a different religion applies occur during the Kesidahi ceremony to replace this action. The eighth of the samskaras consists of this action, which results in the formation of a sikha. That ceremony in Hinduism is the, that's over here.
Like cutting hair.
That's 15. Your bonus. A biradical version of this molecule appears as an intermediate in the Bergman cyclization. For example, each reactive intermediate that can be formed on a strong base like sodium amide reacts with an aryl halide in nucleophilic substitution reactions.
Arrowhead, I was like, say something.
Say that.
Arrowhead.
That's a benzyme. Once formed benzynes can react with dienes in this 4+2 cycle addition. This doubly upon this reaction involves the reaction of the diene with a dienophile.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Feels old.
Arines can be also formed from the treatment of anthranilic acid with this weak acid that reacts with amines to give diazonium salts. This acid is reacted with aniline in the Sandmeyer reaction.
Some kind of weak acid. Acetic acid.
Nitrous acid. You got 10 points. Toss of 2. This work ends with a moresta and is scored for an unusually large orchestra that includes a regal or reed organ played along with 5 trombones, as well as recorders and archludes. The opening of this work introduces a ritornello that recurs at the end of Act 2 and at the beginning of Act 4. Unlike many other operas, this work originally had male roles performed by tenors and basses, and female roles performed by castrati, including the title character's wife. Most of the vocal content of this opera consists of recitatives such as Ahikazo Acerbo rather than arias, but an extremely long aria at its center is included in the score in 2 versions, one much more florid than the other. That aria, whose terza-rima rhyme scheme intentionally evokes Dante, is Possente Spirito, in which the title character begs Caronte to let him cross a river so that he can rescue a person who has died from a snake bite.
It's L'Orfeo.
That's right.
Person who died from a snake bite.
Yeah, really old opera.
Your bonus. This deity sent Eri down to earth, but Eri complained so much about the water all around that this deity sent a blacksmith to drive the water with his bellows. For tempo teach, named the supreme deity in Odinani, who, along with Ani and Ikwensu, is one of the 3 most important Alusis.
I have
Where
no
are we?
idea where we are. Probably like in Asia somewhere.
What you got? Chukwu. Chukwu bears some similarities to Olodumare, the supreme creator god in the pantheon of this Nigerian group. Chukwu is worshipped by a group east of these people.
Yoruba.
The Yoruba did not worship Olodumare directly, but instead through Orishas. One Orisha of some importance is this malevolent trickster who once started a war by coloring one side of his hat red and the other blue.
No, those are all good.
Oh, that's for you.
What you got?
Oh, run.
Okay, it's Eshu. Toss 3. One of this author's poems inspired the title of the Joyce Carol Oates short story collection, Upon the Sweeping Flood. One of this author's poems compares a soul to a bird of paradise put in this wicker cage, my corpse, which pecked the food forbade and fell into the celestial famine sore, before God provides a speaker with heaven's sugar cake. Another of this author's poems includes a list of recorded questions such as, who in this bowling alley bowled the sun? He repeatedly called himself a crumb of dust in the prologue to his poem, God's Determinations Touching His Elect. In an extended metaphor, the speaker of another poem of his compares his conversation to a reel, and his soul to a holy spool, and longs to be clothed in holy robes for glory. That poem begins, make me, O Lord, as... Yeah.
That's fine.
Jonathan loves this dude.
Yes.
He's the worst poet.
He's there.
Literally the worst poet.
Preparatory meditation.
Bonus. This author's partial translation of the Aeneid made him the first English author to publish in blank verse for 10 points each, named its author who wrote Prisoned in Windsor after Jane Seymour accused him of sympathizing with the Pilgrimage of Grace. In a picaresque novel, he served as partner to Jack Wilton.
This is an
Unfortunately, Howard. Just wait
You
there.
got it.
Harry.
Seven.
Henry Howard, the Earl of Surrey. Jack Wilton accompanies Howard across Europe in this Elizabethan author's book, The Unfortunate Traveler. He also wrote the play Somer's Lost Will Testament. Howard pioneered the sonic form, which consists of 3 quatrains and a couplet using the rhyme scheme ABAB, CDCD, EFEF, GG.
That's sheets. No. No. Which one is it?
Shakespearean sonnet.
So Sharky is like 8-6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that-
4. In one story, Zeus became angry at some Lydians for worshipping this deity and sent a deadly boar, which is why the gods and pessimists did eat pork. According to Plutarch, a worshipper of this deity named Bataces predicted a victory for Gaius Marius. And in another story, Claudia Quinta single-handedly pulled this deity's barge up the Tiber River after it was stuck in a sandbank. One festival celebrating this deity featured a mass parade of on the vernal equinox and was called the Hilaria. And during another festival to this deity, Ludis Skyeniki were performed on the Palatine. According to Ovid, Atalanta and Hippomenes had sex in the temple to this deity, who turned them into lions and used them.
Oh, it's a Sibylle?
For number 2, chance of talking about social psychologist Michael Billig. Billig wrote a book examining the banal type of this ideology. Elie Kaduri argued that it was a European phenomenon spread across the globe by colonialism, while Ernest Gellner argued that it led to social homogeneity.
It's like, yeah.
Totalitarianism.
Sure. Go with like
You got
totalitarianism.
nationalism. While attending Bristol University, Billig helped to design this psychologist's minimal group experiments, which sought to determine the threshold for intergroup discrimination. Along with John Turner, the psychologist developed social identity theory.
I should know this.
What you got?
No.
It's Henri Tajfel.
Yeah.
More recently, Billig penned a social critique of this concept, which he claims is rooted in ridicule. Other theories of the concept include the superiority theory and incongruity theory, while Herbert Spencer claimed that it results from a relief from stress.
Isn't this just laughter?
Yes. Laughter.
I guess you did once.
Sure. Toss 'em. This event caused a new slang for this event caused a new slang term for bars catering to the poor population of Addis Ababa to arise. Shortly after this event, an elaborate fraud involving photos doctored by Julian Gott attempted to convince the public that 3 men had tumbled out of prison, been murdered by villagers, and had their bodies mutilated by crocodiles. This action, like the later overthrow of Jean-Fidel Bokassa, was codenamed Operation Barracuda. It was to be carried out by Lawrence Devlin, who was given a mixture of rabbit.
Like, Lumumba trying to kill him?
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Let's
That's exactly the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably exactly what the answer line said.
Lumumba colon trying to kill him.
Your bonus.
Was that power?
Yeah, it was 50. A mysterious polity defeated the Merovingian king Dagobert I at the Battle of Włogostysburg for temperance siege. This polity was the first known to have a majority Slavic population. It was named for a Frankish adventurer who unified the Slavic tribes to combat attacks by the Avars.
They want the polity.
Slavs.
It's a real thing.
Serbia.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called Samos Empire, after Samo, the guy
Cool.
just described. A great kingdom ruled by the House of Moimir and centered around this modern-day region was the Slavic successor state to Samos Empire.
So, Slavic regions. Okay, Balkans.
No, it's Moravia.
Okay.
Although it is unknown precisely how Greater Moravia dissolved, more than likely it involved the invasions of these non-Slavic peoples who overran Central Europe before being halted at the Battle of Lechfeld by Otto the Great.
Yeah. Nice.
There you go. Six. One minor dispute that resulted in this event was the argument over the tyrannicide advocated by Jean Petit and Johann von Falkenberg. A diary discovered in the 19th century by Heinrich Finke and written by Guillaume Philastre is now considered. Oh, crap.
Margaret Colloquy.
That's incorrect.
My bad. Oh, okay.
By Guillaume Philoster is now considered the most important primary source for this event. One participant in this event, assisted by Frederick Empty Pockets, the Duke of Austria, fled the proceedings disguised as a postman, only to be captured by Ludwig III, Elector Palatine. An attempt to mediate the conflicts between Poland and the Teutonic Knights was a failed goal of this event, and Pius II's bull Execrabilis condemned the decree Haec Sancta published during this event, which was an attack on papal supremacy. The most recent resignation of a Pope prior to that of Benedict XVI occurred during this event, when Gregory XII agreed to abdicate in favor of Martin V. Don Hus was burned at the stake during the 10 points where he commanded the council, whose conclusion in 1418 marked the end of the Western Schism. That is right.
Really cool question.
I thought so. Here's your bonus. Many UNESCO World Heritage Sites are listed as in danger of Nefertiti. This site was captured by ISIL, who reportedly had destroyed the city's Lion of Allah statue. It was the center of the rebellion of Odenathus and Zenobia against Rome.
Oh, it's Palmyra. That's what Palmyra.
Also in Syria, this castle was built by Crusaders and manned by the Knights of Hospitaller until it was captured by Baybars in 1271. It had been reported damaged by airstrikes during the siege of Homs, which is 25 miles to the east of this site.
Okay.
Carrick. It's the Croix de Chevalier. This national park in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has suffered deforestation, poaching, and the influx of Rwandan refugees, and the Kivu War within its boundaries. A documentary about this park was nominated for an Academy Award in 2015. No, this is Virunga National Park. So I guess you get 10 points. Toss-up 7. In a paper by Sarkar et al., this technique was used to characterize the phase transformations of heterogeneous solid catalysts used in the Fischer-Tropsch process. It's not EPR, but this technique can be used to probe the process of oxygen activation in enzymes by both heme and non-heme iron atoms. In this technique, sodium nitroprusside appears as a doublet and is used as a common reference material. The three types of nuclear interactions that are observed in this spectroscopic technique are the hyperfine splitting, quadrupole splitting, and isomer shifts. By using the Doppler effect, a source of gamma rays accelerated by linear motor.
Like nuclear Oberhauser?
That is not correct. Yeah. By use of the Doppler effect, a source of gamma rays accelerated by a linear motor through a range of velocities is able to produce an absorption spectrum of a sample where transmittance is plotted against velocity. Isotopes commonly studied by this form of spectroscopy include iodine-129, tin-119, cobalt-61, and iron-57. 10 points name this method of spectroscopy based on an effect that predicts the recoil-free nuclear absorption of gamma rays. This scientist developed a law that stated that under the Newtonian assumption, the pressure of a column of water is linearly proportional to depth. For teaching, this mathematician and physicist who also names the SI unit of pressure and who pioneered fluid dynamics. In fluid dynamics, this dimensionless number approximates the buoyancy force to viscous force ratio, which governs fluid flow in the natural convection limit. It is proportional to the volumetric thermal expansion coefficient over kinematic viscosity squared.
This number is always a good one.
That is a good
Frank
number.
over This is number.
Sadly, this is the Grashof number.
The
The number named for this physicist is equal to the Grashof number times the Prandtl number, and its value determines whether heat transfer for a fluid is primarily in the form of convection or conduction. Yeah.
Good work. That was an instant again. It's my go-to.
Toss bait. In one painting, this person stands to the right of a daughter of Philip the Good, dressed in black and praying. That work by Jean Hay shows this person presenting Madeline of Burgundy. Peter von Königsluh has been offered as a possible candidate for the identity of the 16th century master of the legend of this figure. This person stands next to a boulder behind a crowd of hermits in a panel of the Ghent altarpiece and receives communion from Saint Maximin while covered only in hair in a namesake altarpiece by Lucas Moser. In one painting, this character wears red sleeves and stands to the right of an extravagantly dressed Joseph of Arimathea. The artist of that painting also portrayed this character in the right panel of his Brock triptych, and in a fragment by that artist, this woman reads a book of hours while sitting against a cabinet.
One of the variants.
Your bonus. The geologist Joseph LeConte claimed that this man worked out a theory of evolution several years prior to Darwin, and this man also designed a hot air balloon for the Confederate Army for teach. This man, whose identical named father, is better known for being the Speaker of the House from South Carolina and the predecessor of Nicholas Biddle as President of the Second House of the U.S. Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, it's Langdon Cheves.
Langdon Cheves,
The elder Cheves also became the president of the second bank after William Jones resigned due to this financial catastrophe, which also marked the end of the era of good feelings.
Yeah.
The elder chiefs also served as a delegate to this 1850 Congress of slaveholding states, which affirmed the right to secession, but voted not to take any actions towards secession if the Compromise of 1850 was enacted.
So it's a conference in 1850 that was made on the Boston.
Charleston.
It's called the National Convention.
The national.
National Convention is like.
No, Nashville.
National, okay.
That's nice.
National.
9. A character in this novel claims that his knowledge of Rosicrucianism makes him aware that another character has an aura of someone scared to death. Toward the end of this novel, one character attempts to commit suicide by swallowing broken shards of a light bulb after having his eyelids sewn shut. The title character of this novel worries that his prostate cancer is causing him to leak urine on his uniforms and rapes the protagonist with his fingers after proving impotent. It's
Feast of the Gold.
15. Your bonus. Between June 24th and June 25th, 1981, 6 children reported seeing an apparition of the Virgin Mary on Trinica Hill in this village. For him, which each name is extremely popular Herzegovinian pilgrimage site, whose legitimacy has recently been the subject of an intense debate in the Vatican.
Where is it?
Herzegovina.
But I don't know.
What's the city?
I still don't know. Yeah.
It's called Medjugorje. Recently, scholarly work has tied the apparitions at Medjugorje to the writings of this female Italian Catholic mystic, who wrote about her repeated visions of Jesus in her 5,000-page book, The Poem of the Man God, which was placed on the Vatican's Index of Forbidden Books in 1960. Holy shit.
Catherine.
No. Maria Valtorta. As far as apparitions of the Virgin go, the most revered one in the world took place in Mexico. This suburb of Mexico City, the picture city of Mexico, is also named Our Lady of this place.
There you go.
Maybe we're just not, maybe those two parts are very different.
Those are very difficult. More difficult than it should be. Here we go. 10. This object has cavite and maculae named for mythological water spirits and fossae named for sacred bodies of water, most famously the Yamuna River, as well as a crater chain named for Set. A unique feature of this object's atmosphere is that after a troposphere rising to a height of 8 kilometers, it transitions directly into a thermosphere without the presence of an intermediate radiative stratosphere. Boyce proposed that the characteristic topography of this body resulted from folds that developed when an initially melted lithosphere cooled and solidified. And this body's subsolar regions of 50 to 57 degrees north latitude is the site of most of its cryovolcanism. It is not Enceladus, but at a value of 0.7, this moon does have one of the highest albedos in the solar system. This moon's inclined and circular orbit is unusual because it lies between the small inner prograde and the irregular outer retrograde satellites. This natural satellite is thought to have been captured from the Kuiper Belt.
We'll just try it.
Anyways, this poet commemorated a battle near the title location with his last poem, which begins, "At evening the woods of autumn are full of the sound of the weapons of death." Contemporaries each identified as Austrian poet who had 20 poems, including the above Grodeck, translated into English by James Wright and Robert Bly. His other notable poems include Verfall, or Decay, and Helium.
I got nothing.
Sure.
What do you got?
Mosul.
Say that again?
Mosul?
No, it's Georg Trakl. This other Austrian poet was a great fan of Trakl, especially his cycle Sebastian in a Dream, even known for poems like The Arcade, Torso of Apollo, and the Duino Elegies.
He's Austrian?
Yeah,
Huh.
kind of odd. He's like from Vienna, I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm not surprised that you're saying that as much as surprised that I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I Googled this and established he was Austrian.
Okay.
Or Austrian affiliated, whatever. It's still relevant.
Yeah.
The aforementioned Sebastian in a Dream contains a poem dedicated to this figure, who was also the subject of a Werner Herzog movie about his namesake Enigma, as well as of Peter Henke's first full-length play.
Werner Herzog.
I'm sorry.
It's
Peter Henke's thing.
What is your answer?
Jesus Christ.
No, it's Enigma of Caspar Hauser.
That's right.
Good. Oh, the wolf kid.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like a
You do.
Yeah.
That weird little kid.
Yeah, the feral child, who was eventually like, renamed as
Oh,
like,
that dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you got 20 points.
Sweet.
And that's halftime. The score stands at 170-60.
Okay, sure.
Any?
We're
All right, I guess you trust me to not fuck it up. So. Toss up 11. Before this battle, it was claimed that one side's general had a dream that his men were performing Euripides' Phoenician women, while his opponents were simultaneously performing the Sublate women. After this battle ended, a portion of the losing side conspired to raid Chios, an allied city, for food and shelter, but the plotters were swiftly executed by Eteonicus. The losing general in this battle, Callicratidas, had been stymied by his predecessor returning a large amount of funding to the Persians before his term of office ended. A smaller action before this battle forced 30 ships into the harbor of Mytilene, but a much larger navy soon arrived and defeated the besiegers of Conon's triremes. After this battle ended, a huge storm prevented the victors from retrieving many of their shipwrecked men, leading to an infamous trial where 6 of the victorious generals were accused of neglect and executed. For 10 points, named this 406 BC naval battle, the last great victory for the Athenians in the Peloponnesian War. No, no penalty.
Salamis.
Battle of Argeus.
I could not
All right, toss of 12. An early theory about this phenomenon argued that it is not seen in young children and the insane due to their inability to manipulate significant symbols. This phenomenon is connected via chronicity to a certain Hispanic? What? Maybe Hispanic. I don't know what it actually means. Presumably Hispanic ethos. In a recent essay by Angela Garcia about this phenomenon's elegiac form, an oral history of this phenomenon in the United States between 1923 and 1965 was written by Don DeJarlais, Herman Joseph, and David Portwright. This phenomenon is described as racialized habitus in a 2009 book about it in San Francisco, conducted by Jeff Schoenberg and Philippe Bourgeois. And it is characterized by a pattern of consumption that maximizes discounted utility and therefore as rational in a theory formulated by Kevin Murphy and Gary Becker. This phenomenon, studied by Alfred Lindesmith, was hypothesized by Bruce Alexander to be a product of isolation and distress, replacing an earlier disease. Over here?
Addiction.
Yeah. I guess I have to prompt you.
Yes, I'll say substance addiction, drug addiction.
Addicted to love. Addicted to it. That's right, Gary Becker does stuff.
Here is your bonus. This Chinese landscape theme was later parodied in Suzuki Hanamoto's 8 Views of the Parlor for 10 points each. Name this set of landscape views of modern-day Yunnan province, which traditionally opens with scenes depicting geese descending to level sand and a sail returning to from distant shore.
No,
Chinese.
Yeah, it's the Chinese one. The one with the valley.
Say something right.
Something that.
The barge in the valley.
It's 8 Views of Zhaojiang, or 8 Views of the Zhao and Jiang rivers.
There you go.
Paintings of the 8 Views of Zhaojiang theme rose to popularity during this Chinese dynasty and were cataloged in the statesman Shen Tuo's Dream Pool essays. Emperor Huizong is credited with elevating painting to a scholarly art during its northern period.
Song is the brother period, yeah.
Song. Another artistic motif popularized during the Song Dynasty was the Three Friends of Winter, which portrayed pine, bamboo, and this other plant. This plant also represents the winter season and the 4 gentlemen of flowers in Chinese art.
It's a pine, bamboo, and it's probably a flower. It's a big flower in Chinese.
That's not right.
Lotus.
That's the plum.
Okay.
Plums.
But
It is a thing.
fungal.
13. At one point in this novel, the title character imagines it too incredible that a man named Francesco has been cut open in order to see what a human inside looks like. The title character is thrown into jail for a few days after throwing wine on some people taking communion and exhorting the Savior to let thy fire consume the whole world. In a fit of rage, the title character beheads a kitten belonging to the girl Angelica and later reports on her romance with Giovanni, which results in Giovanni being killed. While carrying out an order to poison Lodovico on 50.
Yes. Good job.
This author included 3 stories about the shape-shifting Queen Louisa in his collection, The King's Indian, for 10 points each. Named this American author who wrote about a chef who prepares a dish of an imperial dog in memory of a son killed in the Vietnam War. In the title story of his collection, The Art of Living, he portrayed a debate between Luther, a ghost of faith, and Nietzsche, a ghost of doubt, in his novel Nicholson's Ghost.
Gardner.
Yeah. Gardner is best known for his 1971 novel, whose title character dies after being ill for his arm. Yes, Gardner was an important mentor for this author who took this class at Chico State College in 1958. Many of his short stories, such as Why Don't You Dance and A Small Little Thing, were heavily ordered and edited by Gordon Lish.
Carver.
Third. Okay. 14. This book concludes that strictly adhering to the first of the title concepts is either highly uncomfortable or leads to hypocrisy. Before turning to William James's assertion that complete philosophies must find a way to affirm that which has been rejected. It cites Sartre's discussion of viscosity in being and nothingness to define two concepts that are eliminated via interpolations, an example of which include the newer categorization of monsters' birth as baby hippopotamuses. These concepts are ambiguity and anomaly. This book's first chapter discusses the impact of Robertson Smith on Emile Durkheim and James Frazer, while its third, The Abominations of Leviticus, controversial claims that kosher laws were driven by a desire to maintain symbolic boundaries, a theory later rejected by its author in 2002. It serves as a foundation for its author's later development of her cultural theory of risk and famously defines dirt as matter out of place. John Boyd's named this 1966 book, subtitled An Analysis of Concepts of Pollution and Taboo, a major anthropological text by Mary Douglas.
Very interesting.
That's time. And it's called Purity and Danger.
Neat. Yeah.
Learning moment. Toss of 15. In the human brain, this element is mainly found bound to glutamine synthetase and aspartites. This element and zinc are used as cofactors by an enzyme that participates in homocysteine metabolism and whose product is the methylated form of S-adenosylmethionine. It's not magnesium, but salts of this element are added to promote mutagenesis and error-prone PCR reactions. Chronic inhaled exposure to excess levels of this element causes an illness that resembles idiopathic Parkinson's disease and is treated with levodopa and PDT acylation. 2-amino-6-borohexonic acid inhibits a urea cycle enzyme that uses this element as a cofactor to produce ornithine and urea from arginine. It's not calcium, but the oxygen-evolving complex OEC present in photosystem 2 has over here.
Is there manganese in there?
This event arose from some remarks made to Edward Montague Stuart Wortley, one of which had the speaker saying, "You English are mad, mad, mad as March hares." Which each identified this diplomatic gaffe named for the British newspaper which the interview was published. In the interview, the speaker also revealed that France and Russia had asked him to oppose England in the Second World War.
What's that really? What's it called? The London Times.
No, it's the Daily Telegraph affair. The interview that spawned the Daily Telegraph affair was given by this Bundesliga Kaiser of Germany, who had previously forced the resignation of Bismarck in favor of the less competent Louis Treaty. Wilhelm had originally passed the interview to this chancellor of his, who allowed it to be published after it came back with no commentary from the German Foreign Office. After failure to get an inheritance tax passed to raise money for shipbuilding, he was forced to resign in favor of Theobald von Bettenhol. No, it's one
Bulow?
Yeah.
Music guy. It's not the music.
Bernhard von Bülow.
Oh. They're related.
Seemingly a different one, I would think. 16. This work's second book notes that the title concept is unlike an axe, that being made dull and useless is still nonetheless an axe, but an unseen eye is only an eye in the same sense that a glass eye is. This text posits that the nutritive variety of the title concept is the most primitive and widely distributed, and part 2 of its first book contains a listing of various theories of the title concept developed by the author's predecessors. The third book of this text posits possible and agent intellects, and many of the topics addressed in this work are covered.
Doesn't seem right. Doesn't it say Dan?
That's right.
There's a nutritive aspect of this.
It doesn't seem right, but it actually
Can't be. It is.
somehow. Here's your bonus. King Ludwig I of Bavaria abdicated the throne after his affair with this dancer sparked riots which toppled his government. For 10 points each, and this 19th century courtesan stage performer who infamously premiered an erotic spider dance while touring Australia.
Isn't that the one who went to like Paraguay and
Yeah.
Elias or something?
We
No,
got
that's
Sarah something. I don't know.
Lola Montez.
Yeah.
May have inspired the song Whatever Lola Wants, Lola Gets from this musical in which Joe Hardy sells his soul to the devil to help the Washington Senators win the This German-born director of final movie told the story of Lola Montez. During the 1950s, he directed French films such as The Earrings of Madame Day, ... and La Ronde.
German-born French characters.
What do you got? That's Max Opals.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's awesome.
Is that maybe German?
17. Two characters with this last name argue whether the Rue Saint-Honor leads to the Place de la Concorde in the third act of a play written after the author's visit to the family of Hartley Manners. In that play, a character with this last name acts out the word winsomely during a game of adverb charades and reenacts a role from the melodrama Love's Whirlwind. This surname is shared by Simon Sorel, the novelist David, and the retired actress Judith, who all invite hapless guests to their country house in a farce first performed in 1925. It's the last name of the dysfunctional family in Noel Coward's comedy Hay Fever, as well as the title of a novel about Harry Joy, an advertising executive who learns of the existence of hell after a heart attack. A short story with this title ends with Bertha Young's realization that her husband is having an affair.
Boys.
Good.
10 points are yours.
There's this family.
This family included Kara Mustafa Pasha for 10 points each. Name this Turkish family whose grand viziers presided over the last great era of Ottoman power, including the 1683 siege of Vienna.
So the family, it's
Correct. I want to think. What do you got?
Malik.
It's the Koprulu family. Several members of the Koprulu family were flummoxed by this diplomatic situation caused by this foreign king's request for refuge in Ottoman lands after his defeat of Poltava.
Charles.
the guy lost. Yeah, the guy lost the Great War. Yeah, Charles.
Good.
This patriarch of the Koprulu family was brought to Istanbul from Albania as a youth. Mehmed the Hunter gave up most of his political power to this man who oversaw victory over Venice at the Battle of the Dardanelles.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard part. Salim.
No, it's Mehmed Pasha. 10 points.
Those are two vaguely Ottoman-ish words.
Could have made that up. Here's Tusk 18. Later in this man's career, he was banned from the White House for criticizing Carter's appointment of Alfred Kahn as inflation czar and the policies of the Council of Wage and Price Stability. After World War II, he allied with Matthew Wold, Jay Lovestone, and David Dubinsky to form the Free Trade Union Committee, which was secretly funded by the CIA. Because of his ardent support for the Vietnam War, he refused to endorse George McGovern during the 1972 election. As Secretary-Treasurer of one organization, this man supported the requirement of anti-communist oaths within the Taft-Hartley Act.
Me.
That's right. This early 20th century scientist conducted an expedition to observe a solar eclipse on May 29, 1918, which provided an early piece of evidence in favor of Einstein's theory of relativity, which Archimedes and his British astrophysicist strongly supported the Dirac large number hypothesis, who names a constant equal to the number of protons in the universe. He also names the limit for the maximum luminosity of a star. Eddington also names the luminosity limit for stars that is achieved when there's a balance between the radiation pressure of a star and its other force. In Earth's atmosphere, the pressure gradient force counteracts its other force.
I think it's right.
Sure is. Eddington also discovered the accepted explanation for the pulsation of Cepheid variables, which is given this name. That mechanism of pulsation is based on oscillation of the ionization of helium atom in the atmospheres of Cepheids.
That guy's not just Kappa here.
Okay.
Kappa.
Sure.
Did you learn that? How do you think that's going that chair?
Yes.
One of this composer's piano concertos begins with the theme C F sharp G A flat G F in the first violins. He's not Beethoven, but he included a reprise in the Fugue Préambule in the Gavotte Espinal of his neoclassical E flat major septet for string quartet, bass, piano, and trumpet. The second movement of this composer's second piano concerto is in E flat major at 6/8 time and begins with a frolicking timpani solo. He used a minuet in B flat major as the second section of his first cello concerto, although that piece in A minor is written all in one movement. His fourth piano concerto is like his third symphony in C minor, with two bipartite movements that use Liszt technique to develop and transform a single theme. This composer's G minor second piano concerto was ridiculed as beginning with Bach and ending with Offenbach.
Saint-Saëns.
For bonus. This piece constantly returns to the piano's right hand, slowly arpeggiating C, F, A, while the string instrument plays excruciatingly slow scales that always return to A for tempo T. In this tintinnabular piece, often paired with this composer's Furalina for solo piano.
It's our whole part shit.
Is that?
Yeah, like Spiegel and Spiegel. Maybe.
That's right. Arvo Part, the composer Spiegel is usually associated with this musical movement, which uses very simple constant cells over and over and over again.
Minimalism.
The premiere recordings of Arvo Part's works are made on this German label's new series. This is the current record label of Anja Schiff and the label of the Hilliard Ensemble and Keith Jarrett, whose Cold Concert might be the best known album from this label.
I'm gonna see you part of my car.
Yeah.
We should go check.
You know guys don't need German.
What you got?
No.
It's called ECM, or Edition of Contemporary Music.
Yeah.
Last Oscar. In the gamma theory of alpha decay, this method is applied to calculate the properties of a toy system with an infinite square well potential and with 1 over r tail. This method requires the use of functions whose asymptotic forms for large positive arguments. Z scales as z to the minus 1/4 times an exponential of plus or minus 2/3 times z to the 3/2 power. Those functions are solutions to a second order differential equation that comes up when solving the time-independent Schrodinger equation for a linear potential. This method calculates timing probabilities as e to the -2 gamma, where gamma is an integral over position of 1 over h bar times the square root of 2m times e minus v. This approximation uses the connection formula to stitch together solution to the Schrodinger equation at points where the energy of a bound state is equal to the potential. At those turning points, this method uses area functions to link approximate solutions in classical and non-classical regions. Endpoint's name is triply eponymous.
It's WKB the whole time.
Well, then why did you buzz?
I don't know enough.
Answer the following questions about cancer therapy for different each. This simple platinum-containing chemotherapeutic drugs by using cancer therapy is cross-links guanine and DNA, resulting in the activation of DNA repair mechanism, whose eventual failure causes cancer cell apoptosis. Yes, an anti-metabolite cancer drug and suicide inhibitor of thymidylate synthase can be synthesized by adding a fluorine atom to the 5-position of this nucleobase that is only present in RNA. Cisplatin is also has particularly devastating nephrotoxic effects. One way to mitigate those effects is to co-administer this organic thiophosphate compound, which is metabolized to WR1065 in the body. Maybe something produced in kidneys? I don't know. Name something. It's called amifostine. That is the game. 365 or 90.
Yeah. Hey Dre, were you recording this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind turning it off? There's like a record button. Just hit that again. It's on the back of the camera.
This work.